You're listening to the Black Eagles podcast with Sinan Schwarting and Kaan Bayazit.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Yanında Tümer var. Tümer'e doğru aksın kaybetti. Tümer topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol! Gol! Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Yuma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Beşiktaş. Ahmet.
Hello Black Eagles, welcome back to the Black Eagles YouTube channel. I have been ranting for the last 15 minutes and it seems I had forgotten to press the go live button. So I was just talking to myself. I hope I'm talking to you now. I hope you're joining me live in the chat, and I really want to hear all of your opinions about what is going on right now at the club. It's absolute chaos, as you can see from the title. Beşiktaş chairman and president Hasan Arat has stepped down as the chairman of the football association, of the football branch of the club. And Hüseyin Yücel, his vice president, is taking over as the new chairman of the football branch. And really, the bomb already started bursting last night. Beşiktaş announced out of nowhere, out of the blue, that both Brad Friedel and Samet Aybaba had been let go, had been sacked. That's gonna get crazier, by the way. But let me get into this first. So apparently, both of them have been let go. And I'm just gonna warn you. I'm just gonna tell you already now, guys. There's gonna be a lot of rumor and innuendo in this episode. In this special episode, in this breaking episode, really. I don't like to talk a lot of rumor and innuendo because it's dangerous. I am going to lead by saying that a lot of the things I am going to say are things that journalists are saying, that people are saying online. It is not confirmed. It is not a fact. These are rumors, and often rumors from people with agendas. But so yesterday night, the club announced that Brad Friedel and Samet Aybaba were both let go. And immediately after, journalists started tweeting about all it. I think Sercan Dikme was the one to say that he had called Brad Friedel and Friedel knew nothing about this. He hadn't heard from anyone at the club that he got fired. Samet Aybaba, essentially the same thing. People were writing that Hasan Arat had WhatsApped him the official club statement, sent him a WhatsApp message with the official club statement that he's been sacked. So that was allegedly how Samet Aybaba was told that he had been fired, by essentially him being forwarded the club statement by the president of the club. And then today, this morning, Onur Guçmez offered his resignation to the board. He is one of the board members. His resignation has been denied. The club did not accept it. President Hasan Arat did not accept his resignation. Subsequently, Hasan Arat has now himself resigned as the chairman of the football branch. That does mean, however, that he will remain, for the time being, the president of the club. Because obviously, many of you will know, but some of you won't. Beşiktaş are not just a football club, they're also a basketball club, they're also a volleyball club, a women's basketball club, women's volleyball, women's football, all that kind of stuff. Wheelchair basketball, lots and lots of different sports. Beşiktaş are a really big sports club, and of course, the majority of fans care most about football. The football is probably 90% of what makes Beşiktaş popular among fans. I think most of the Black Eagles watchers here, the viewers here, I think the majority of you probably only watch football, maybe a little bit of basketball. Anyway, point is, Hasan Arat is right now still the president of the club, but Hüseyin Yücel is now the chairman of the football branch of the club. What does that mean? Well, that means that Hüseyin Yücel will have a final say in a lot of, all football-related decisions. So whether or not Giovanni van Bronckhorst remains as the club coach, whether or not his staff stay, whether or not Aybaba and Friedel stay. So. Those two are gone now, of course, but also he will have final say in the transfers come January, and he will likely stay in charge until May, until the actual elections. But so much rumor and innuendo, guys, so much happened over the last less than 24 hours even, and it's only been a year. This board has only been in place since last year. It's crazy to think where I think we were all super hopeful. The projects that Hasan Arat had lined out, I think we were all looking forward to that. And it's crazy how it's completely spiraled out of control now. But allegedly, it's for health reasons. That is what's being said right now. And again, I don't like dealing in rumor and innuendo, but I do feel like, I refrained from talking about it on the podcast recently. I didn't want to put nasty rumors out there, spread those rumors further. But I mean, I think at this point it's pointless really to not address the elephant in the room, and that is that Hasan Arat likely is dealing with some serious health issues. It's being speculated that he may have thyroid cancer. And that plays a big part in his decision to step down as the football chairman, because of how significant the football branch is. That is the single biggest responsibility of the president. So I think it makes sense if he's really ill that he steps down as the football chairman, because I think that is just too much for him to handle right now if he's having to undergo treatment and all that kind of stuff. There will be a press conference, I'm sure, within the next couple of hours, I hope, where he will hopefully explain what's going on, that we can put these rumors to the bed, that we will know what's actually going on, because, I don't really like talking about a person's health and saying things that aren't true. I don't know if it's true, so this is just the stuff that's been said. Welcome to the people in the chat, by the way. Please let me know your opinions on what's going on right now. Let's see what Jason has to say. Horrible situation, complete collapse in November, both on and off the pitch. Yeah, that's right. I don't know if this has anything to do with this. Of course, I think, if the football team was going better, if we were doing well, maybe this wouldn't be happening, even if Hasan Arat is sick, because if your club isn't in crisis, then it's much easier to handle the day-to-day operations. But given the crisis of the football team, it's probably best for Hasan Arat's health that he steps down, if it's true. Let's see, Carlito, bet you didn't expect to make 2 items within 4 hours when you woke up this morning. That's a very good point, Carlito. And of course, he's referring to this morning I did about 47 minutes of a VIP podcast for those of you who are Patreon members. So for the Patreon members, if you're watching this, you'll probably already be listening to me for the second time today. I talked about the Samet Aybaba and the Brad Friedel situation at length. But at that time, Hasan Arat had not resigned yet. So this is really purely in reaction to that, to really a big bomb bursting. And I thought, okay, I can wait until Friday and talk about it with Kartal and Sinan, which undoubtedly we will be doing. But I felt like this is such big news that I can't not. The channel can't stay quiet for 3 days on that, if that makes sense. We are a Beşiktaş channel. We talk about Beşiktaş and all the latest. And it's been brought to my attention recently by a lot of you who watch and listen that we are like your main source of information. So I really felt a responsibility to be on the ball and talk about this, so you are aware of what's going on. Aware of what's going on. Look, I'm not even aware of what's going on. I don't know shit. I only know what I've read online. I only know what people are telling us, and I don't trust most of those people because over the last couple of months, I feel like there's been a pattern emerging where these people clearly are representing a certain faction within the board. There's been a lot of rumored infighting. There's supposedly been 2 camps in the board, a Khan Shakul, not Khan Bayazit, Khan Shakul camp, and a Hüseyin Yücel camp. And they've been butting heads for months, apparently. As you all know, Hüseyin Yücel played an instrumental role in bringing both Ciro Immobile and Rafa Silva to Beşiktaş in the summer. Then Brad Friedel was brought in, and the transfer policy kind of changed. Apparently, Khan Shakul and Friedel work closely together, and I guess Friedel was really kind of Shakul's vision. If you'll remember, during the election promises last year, this roughly, a little bit earlier, like a little bit over a year ago, I want to say. I don't remember exactly when the elections were. I want to say they were in November. I think they were in November, actually. So a little bit before that, one of the election promises was professionalization of the club. And I'm going to say this is how I interpret this and how I see it. I'm not saying this is fact, but I am under the impression from the limited information that we have that Khan Shakul is somebody that was pushing for the further professionalization of the club. He wanted to put football people in charge. Brad Friedel, for better or for worse. I don't know how you feel about Friedel, it doesn't really matter, but he wanted to put football people in charge to make footballing decisions instead of board members like Hüseyin Yücel, who is not a football person, instead of him making important decisions, making the transfers and stuff like that. Again, for better or for worse. I'm not judging. I think Yücel did a great job by bringing a guy like Rafa Silva. I think Ciro Immobile is a great player too. If you build a good team, if you have a good team around him, I think he'll score you lots and lots of goals. So I'm not saying that's bad. I also think that Felix Udukai is a great transfer. I also think Emirhan Topçu is a great transfer. So like those are then the Brad Friedel transfers. Like you need both, right? I think you need both. I think you need a healthy combination of both. Anyway, so supposedly those were clashing. Clearly, there's also the rumors have come out about issues between Aybaba and Friedel. Not so much between them on a personal level, I want to say, because I haven't read anything yet of Friedel actually retaliating. But apparently, really early in the season, during the away game to Samsun, Aybaba questioned the decision for Friedel to travel with the team because he said, what's this guy doing on the plane if he's brought for marketing? Because that's his official title, was like marketing and advisor to the board. But with marketing, I clearly think they mean marketing players, not marketing commercials and stuff like that, So he questioned that apparently and said that if Friedel is going to be on the plane, I won't be. And then apparently, allegedly, again, rumor and innuendo, but allegedly both Hasan Arat and Khan Shakul stepped up and said, well, he's traveling with the team whether you like it or not. And then Aybaba supposedly got off the plane. That would also perhaps explain why Arat sent him that notification via WhatsApp. Because I don't think you do that to someone you have a good relationship, a good working relationship with. And I mean, if this is true, I think it's extremely unprofessional on Samet Aybaba's part. I think that's extremely toxic and unprofessional. If it's true. I'm not saying it is. But if that is what he did, I don't think that's a professional way to work. Whether or not you agree with him being present or not, like, you don't do that. Like, that's like your wife telling you, well, it's me or your friend or something. Like, you don't put people in an ultimatum like that. That's ridiculous. That's like childish, juvenile behavior. And apparently Hüseyin Yücel also had issues with Friedel. There was another bit of news that Friedel attended one of Turkey's games over the international break, and apparently Yücel told him, well, if you want to go to that match, it's going to be on your own dime, so the club won't be paying for it. I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't know what Friedel really has to, why he would have to go and watch the Turkey game, but yeah, I don't know. Hi Mario, let me know, bro, what you think. Everyone in the chat, please, if you have any opinions, any comments to any of this, let us know. Let me know. So yeah, there's that. So there's clearly, I mean, there clearly seems to have been infighting at the club for months. And today, you know, obviously the big bomb is Hasan Arat's resignation as the chairman of the football branch, but also some other news has come out. The board member responsible for communication, I believe her name is Zeybek Ishik or something like that. She has resigned, and also the guy in charge of communication, social media communication, has been fired. Karajan something. I mean, that guy's been getting a lot of hate on social media for months, and you know what, rightfully so. I am not a fan of people doing a witch hunt and stuff like that online, but this guy, I mean, look, he has his own social media, Fenerbahce shirts, he's a Fenerbahce fan, and look, if he was doing a great job, I wouldn't care that he's a Fenerbahce fan, but he was doing a very bad job. And you can't be a Fener fan and half-ass your job at Beşiktaş and not get scrutinized. So him being gone is great. I think the communication from the club has been piss poor over the months. This is something a friend of mine, Özcan Kartal's brother, has been heckling for ages, is that the club doesn't communicate properly when tickets are going to go on sale. And given the fact how expensive tickets are, it's very important for people who want to attend the game but who can't afford the more expensive tickets, that they know when the tickets are going to go on sale so they can get themselves one of those cheaper tickets really quickly. Otherwise, they're sold out straight away. Those cheap tickets go in like 15 minutes, if not quicker. So it's really important for those people that they know when the tickets are going to go on sale. It's just small little things like that. But also, like, for example, you know, when we announced the app last week, like, the Beşiktaş Twitter account didn't tweet about that until we were like half an hour into the live stream. You know, like little things like that. Like, the communication has been terrible. So I really think it's great that those people are gone. She was doing clearly not a good job. That person in charge of social media was doing a terrible job. So him being fired is good. I hope new competent people are being brought in, and a new, bring in a board member for communication who has a degree and knows what they're doing. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know her. I don't know Zeybek, but there were also issues with her like months ago. I remember there was I believe at the club event, Bülent Uslu didn't shake her hand, and then she took to Twitter afterwards and like pulled him through the mud. And look, I'm not saying that she isn't wrong to be offended. I think if he snubbed her and didn't shake her hand, that he's a massive a-hole. But don't, like, you're a board member of one of the biggest clubs in Turkey. You can't have public Twitter spats. That's not okay. And it's not just her. Kaan Şakul had a whole thing with Sercan Dikme a couple of months ago as well. Like, there's been cracks in this board for months where there's been clear signs of unprofessionalism, and that's just not acceptable. That's just not okay. I mean, also I think you all know I like Hasan Arat a lot, but if it's true that he communicated to Samet Aybaba by sending him a WhatsApp message of his resignation, like the fact that he's been like the tweet that says he has been fired, like that's unprofessional as F, man. Like I don't care how much he's been a thorn in your side potentially over the last couple of months. Like you have to be professional about this. You're the president of Beşiktash. You have to be professional about this. Like I really hope that rumor isn't true, because that's some great ABS. Also, the fact supposedly now today Sercan Dikme again with his dick bombs. Apparently, according to Dikme, Brad Friedel this morning was sitting at the facilities in his office and was waiting for somebody from the club to come tell him he's fired. Like, I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, that is so unprofessional. I understand that these people had an extraordinary meeting to hold today and that they had other things to do, but then hold off on the announcement that he's fired until after the meeting, and then after the meeting have the courtesy, the professionalism to tell the guy he's fired and give him a reason why he's fired. Also, from all these rumors that I'm seeing online about, you know, Aybaba and Friedel having issues and Hüseyin Yücel having issues with Friedel, I am yet to read anything that's supposed to suggest that there's been a transgression on Friedel's part. So I don't quite understand why he is being fired. The only thing I can imagine is that, well, the decision was already kind of made between Arat and Yücel. They already knew where they were going. Yücel is taking over as chairman of the football branch. And Yücel doesn't want to work with Friedel. So, you know, and Arat probably said, well, Aybaba has been a problem factor, so he needs to go. And then Yücel maybe said, yeah, but Friedel also needs to go. I don't want to work with him. And that's why they just did it two birds, one stone. But it's still super, super unprofessional. Let's see what Mario has to say. It's just crazy, dude. All of this. We have an international match tomorrow. Hasan Arat resigning. It's too much. Yeah, the timing isn't great. I don't know what kind of an effect this is going to have on the team. I can't imagine it's going to have a super positive effect unless I don't know. Hüseyin Yücel, of course, is responsible for the transfers of Rafa and Ciro, and those guys probably are very influential in the dressing room. So maybe the fact that Yücel is the new chairman will be positive for the players. I don't know. Let me know, by the way, in the comments, guys, in the live chat, what you think of Hüseyin Yücel being the president of the chairman now of the football branch. Also, I've seen in our group chats some people mentioning the word a coup, a coup d'état. Do you really believe this is a coup d'état? I'm very curious about that. Again, innuendo. I have had a very strong feeling since the very beginning of this board that Yücel has been trying to position himself in a position where he could be the next Beşiktaş president. I think that's pretty obvious for everyone to see. However, if this was a coup d'état, Hasan Arat has always been very full of praise, and I don't know if there's clearly been issues between Şakul and Yücel, but I don't know if there have been real issues between Arat and Yücel. I haven't seen those signs. Now, maybe they were able to keep those under wraps. Maybe they were able to keep that quiet because Arat knew they needed Yücel for the money. But I feel like when a ship is that leaky, it's not very plausible that you keep that like everything else is leaking, but that you're not leaking that. That just doesn't seem super plausible to me. So I don't know. If Hasan Arat is really sick, it does make sense to me that given the current situation in the football branch and the crisis going on in the football branch and the stress that undoubtedly brings with it, it does make sense to me that Hasan Arat is taking like a leave of absence. And the way it looks right now, it kind of looks like it is a leave of absence rather than a full abdication, because he is remaining, for the time being at least, the president of the club, just not the chairman of the football branch. I'm just gonna quickly catch up on my WhatsApp groups, guys, to see if there's anything new. Yeah, it looks like Hasan Arat is going live, or is already live on YouTube. Press conference. So let's see. This is what Kartal is saying in our group. We won't see any infrastructure in football, I'm afraid. Gio will get sacked next bad result and Sergen will come. Yeah, that's one of the rumors, guys, that Yücel wants to bring in Sergen. And actually that was a rumor way back when as well, that Yücel was a big proponent of Sergen. Yeah, I don't think there's any massive news bursting yet. I am just going to quickly check because I don't want to go too long. The main point of this is that you are aware of what's going on. I know most of you are. I know most of you are following all this very closely, but there's also those of you who rely heavily on the Black Eagles podcast to bring you any form of news. So for those of you, especially for those of you, I really didn't want to be silent for 3 days because I feel like, yeah, that's like an earthquake happening and then being told 3 days later that an earthquake happened, right? Let's have a look. Hasan Arat is making statements. Here's one, a quote. I informed Samet Aybaba of the decision via WhatsApp. We made peace. He had a request from me and I fulfilled it. He can make a statement. Samet Aybaba is the captain of Beşiktaş. He can make a statement anytime, anywhere. He can talk here too. Huh. So he confirms that he let him know via WhatsApp. Wow, that's pretty bad. I'm gonna start at the beginning of these quotes because I'm currently on the Haberkartalen Twitter page. Shout out to the guys from Haberkartalen. I think they always do a great job getting this kind of stuff out there. So I'm just going to see where exactly his presser is starting. Also, there's some news here about Kaan Şakıl. Kaan Şakıl will not have any authority in any process related to the football team. So it looks like Şakıl is staying. Finance and club financial structures will continue to be managed by Kaan Şakıl. So it seems like Şakıl isn't out, but he is out of the football branch, other than him having... some influence, of course, on the financials. Sorry guys, I am just trying to find the first one here. There's a statement from Fatih Doğan, who is a journalist. Samet Aybaba returns to his duty. So it looks like perhaps Aybaba will be brought back into the fold under Yücel. Alright, this is the first quote from Arat. I'm just hitting the translate button, guys, so I don't have to think. So if I say, if it's like a weird sentence structure, that's the reason why. I'm just gonna straight up read the Google Translate version of these tweets. The first one, Beşiktaş has experienced. This is a quote from Hasan Arat. Beşiktaş has experienced dramatic developments in football in the last month. Our fans were upset. We were all upset. We made these decisions to get out of here. So out of that bad situation. So the next one, let's see. There was a gap for a while due to my special situation. As of today, Hüseyin Yücel, Onur Göçmez, Mete Vardar and Feyyaz Uçar are responsible for football. Umraniye and the decisions to be made about the coach. I am mainly responsible for the politics of the club. This is This is the separation of powers. We believe this will be successful. All right, so he alludes to it here. Due to my situation, he is not going into detail, but this clearly confirms that there's health issues. He also this essentially says he is staying as the president of the club, and he will continue to deal with certain things like politics and all that kind of stuff. He will be still the president of the club and the face of the club in a sense, but Hüseyin Yücel obviously will have the end responsibility of the football branch and will be making the big decisions going forward in the football branch. Next quote. Beşiktaş fans can rest assured I am standing before them as their president. Today you see what they did to send me away in 1 hour. We stand by our promise. They will come and run in May. They should not resort to pre-2015 tactics. Everyone should come in to their senses. That's a weird sentence structure, so I'm just going to quickly read the Turkish version to myself. Well, I think here he's talking about the media and how they've been going batshit crazy over the last couple of hours. And I think he's alluding to the fact that definitely some vultures are trying to benefit from this chaos at the moment. Obviously not referring to anyone within the club, but people from without. The next quote, we have an important match tomorrow. It is also a national match. You will ask why there were tremors before this match. Tremors give strength. They definitely give a message to the necessary places. All our friends went with the team. We want to leave this match on a positive note. Sometimes a shock effect can definitely be beneficial, but as we saw last season, that often isn't the case as well. But usually shock effects are being brought by sacking a coach or dropping players from the squad, not by overhauling the backroom staff like this. I mean, let's hope it. I hope he's right. I hope this will have the desired effect. We will not stay here for even a minute if Beşiktaş fans do not want us. Everyone should know this. Okay, well, they did chant Unitem Istifa after the game against Göztepe and during the game against Göztepe, so some fans clearly don't want that. I'm not saying they should resign on a whim, by the way. I think that's ridiculous, but I'm just saying, that's such an empty promise, Next quote. Our chairman of the board of directors are former administrators, people we saw in the opposition, but who are our friends. Called, everyone gave the message of how they can support us here. I would like to thank our community for being with us during these difficult days. Yeah, obviously he's talking about the difficult days of the club here, but I imagine that there's also people like Adali and stuff who probably called him and asked him how he's doing and if his health is okay and stuff like that. I have to say, Serdar Adale, I think has been very supportive ever since losing the election. I think he's been, you know what? I just want to say that, man. How classy has he been? Like, how often do we see, like, actually, in politics, in my local town here, the mayor lost the election. He was super butthurt about it and forced the new coalition to essentially work out a deal with an extreme right party because he was too butthurt to grow up and negotiate himself. And so often you see that in politics and any walk of life where people, when they lose, they're so butthurt. And I just have to say, Serdar Adale really earned my respect by the way he accepted his defeat and how classy he's been about it. So yeah, kudos to him, man. Next quote. I trust my friends. We gave them all the authority. We are going through a bad period. These ups and downs happen. A blow to us will be dealt to Beşiktaş. We need to stay calm. We are not perfect. We haven't even had a year yet. Okay. And next quote. Our morale is not good. I will not hide this from my community. Who can be in good morale after the Göztepe match? I am a human being made of flesh and blood like you. Yeah, I mean, it's very true. He is. All right, I think that's the quotes for now. I'm sure there'll be more. But it looks like essentially, yeah, there's not going to be any change, massive changes. I mean, look, I think it's very clear. The way that it was going wasn't working, short term at least. I think it's a shame that they're blowing up long-term planning. Like, for example, the whole Brad Friedel thing, that is a long-term project, I think. Feels a little goofy to blow that up, especially because I don't think from what we know, and like I don't think he's done anything wrong. I think the transfers he's made, other than Jan Keleş, have been spot on. I don't think it's his fault that, supposedly Gio was the one who really wanted João Mario. I don't know, maybe something else happened, we don't know, but I feel it's a little harsh, but yeah, what can you do, right? But yeah, so conclusion, Hasan Arat is still the president of the club. Hüseyin Yücel, the new president or chairman of the football branch. Guys, sue me. I'm a little bit excited about January now. If only morbid curiosity. What is he? I mean, he's gonna go crazy in January, I think. Like, I really expect some big moves from Hüseyin Yücel in January. I think. I don't know. I find myself being one of the people who is more positive about Yücel than most people. Like, in all my friends on WhatsApp and you guys in the WhatsApp community as well. Like, I feel like everyone's super down on Yücel, and I find myself being a little bit more positive about it. Don't get me wrong. I think he fucked up royally with the whole Jose Mourinho thing. I also think that he needs people around him to tell him no, because I think if you let Yücel do everything, and then the problem is that you're gonna end up with like a team full of 30-plus-year-olds. I don't want that, but I do think this team needs some serious quality injection on the wing, and I definitely think Yücel can deliver that. And you have to keep in mind, if he brings it, like I think you have to also see it like this. This January, in my opinion, is our last chance to bring in really good quality players, because come the summer with that new rule, it's gonna be super difficult, because you can't bring in players older than 24 that haven't played 75% of international games over the past year. So you're not gonna bring in any Argentinians, Brazilians, Germans, Italians. You're not gonna bring in any of those, because Beşiktaş can't afford internationals from those countries. So you're gonna have to start looking at Nigeria and Bolivia and Paraguay. Like, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. Like, those can be great players, but like, still, I think it's gonna make things a lot more difficult. So I think if we can bring in a really good winger, like a Gazal level winger this summer, this January, I think we can build a team on that going forward. And I think we need to bring him in January, because in the summer it's going to be 10 times harder because of those new TFF rules. So call me crazy, I am mildly positive about this. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I have a good feeling about Yücel as well, Mario Vargas says. I think you and me are the only ones, Mario. I really do. If I see what other people are writing right now. The thing though, I do have to, I am not going to stick my head in the sand. I am going to acknowledge the fact that I think there's a very big movement in the media online that want to paint Hüseyin Yücel in a good light. Clearly, like yesterday, for example, Ertan Süzgün literally said, Beşiktaş are in dark days, but darker days are ahead if Hüseyin Yücel resigns. Then he came with news that the wages hadn't been paid for 20 to 25 days, and Yücel paid them out of pocket. And then basically sketching, he was very clearly creating an image of, without Hüseyin Yücel and without Hüseyin Yücel's money, Beşiktaş are in deep trouble. And to me, that is too on the nose, man. That's too, yeah. To me, that comes across like, yeah, I think Hüseyin Yücel feeds you news, and you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, kind of stuff. So I don't stick my head in the sand about that kind of thing. But I also think that getting Rafa Silva is a great transfer. And I know a lot of you people are talking about the costs of that, and yeah, I know the costs were very big, but especially now with these changes coming, I think it's very important that we have a couple of top quality players. And then we need to start building around them. And next summer, we are gonna be forced to sign young players anyway with these new rules. So I think if you can build a good skeleton of a team with quality, experienced players, and then you can start filling it out with younger, talented players, that's the perfect world for me. I was having an argument earlier, or discussion earlier with Özcan about 2012 and Feda, and it essentially boiled down to, we spent too much money on Musrati, on Mucci, on Rafa, on Ciro. We spent way too much money. And he said, well, in 2012, we spent a lot less money, and we did better than now. And yes, of course he's right. We spent almost no money in 2012 in the Feda season. But I feel like if you look where we're coming from last season, and you compare that to where we were in the 2011-22 season, and we were going into the 2012-2013 season, we were in a much better place. Maybe not financially, because we didn't have the stadium yet, and this board has created a lot of extra revenue streams and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of squad, I think back then we were in a much better place. Also, the gap was much smaller with Fenerbahce and Galatasaray. It was big, don't get me wrong, it was big. But we still had players like Thomas Sivok. We still had players like Manuel Fernandes, players like Hugo Almeida. Hell, Ricardo Quaresma was still on the books. He didn't play, but he was still on the books. So back then we let go of a lot of big earners like Fabian Ernst and so on. Holosko was still at the club as well. Was Bobo still there? No, Bobo wasn't there anymore. But I think what we had there and the foundations we had going into the Feta season were a lot better. And then we brought in Ozhan, we brought in Oljai, we brought in Escude, who I don't think was very good. We brought in some duds then. But I just think that we were in a better situation going into that season than we were this season going into this season. I think the rebuild that we are still going through and that we set in motion last January is much, much harder than the rebuild going from the 2012 summer into Feta into 2013, 14, 14, 15, and so on. I just think there were the foundations were much, much better. In 2012-13, Fernandez was extremely important, was the star. Ozhan emerged, became more and more important as the season went on. Then Fernandez left the next summer, but then Ozhan was ready and primed. So I just think that transition was easier. Anyway, I'm gonna check one more time if there's any more quotes coming out right now. But if there's not, then I am going to end this one. And then hopefully, until Friday, hopefully nothing big happens again then. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's quite a few more. At least one. Let's have a look. There's a few here. There's another quote here that I haven't read yet. I read the one on the WhatsApp. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Let's see. It's difficult following, like I'm trying to get the quotes in one place because then I get them kind of in line. But they have to, of course, do them all as well. And that's not always the case. Yeah. Hasan Arat's quote here. I spoke with Giovanni van Bronckhorst on the evening of the Göztepe match. I spoke with him again the next day. I said that the board of directors has now decided to continue. We will not hesitate to make a decision when the time comes. We will do everything for Beşiktaş. We need to watch the next 2 to 3 matches in which Beşiktaş will get good results. So yeah, that's very clear. Essentially saying if Beşiktaş don't do well in the Maccabi, Hatay and Fenerbahçe game, then that's curtains for Giovanni van Bronckhorst. So yeah, it's realistic that that we'll be looking for a new coach in the next 10 days or so, unfortunately. Then there's a quote here, another quote from Hasan Arat. Manchester City is the most expensive team in the world. They haven't won in 5 games. These things can happen in sports. If we pass tomorrow night, I think we have a good chance in Europe. We can also go to a better point in Turkey. I didn't come here promising championship. The management won 2 cups in 8 months. There can be good days and bad days in a family. The only thing that upsets us is giving up the fight. I don't remember if he said anything about that we're going to be champions this year, honestly. But he's definitely right. Look, I think at the start of November, we were in a very good position. The football wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. We had some bad injuries, some badly timed injuries, I should say, some unfortunate injuries. But it's no excuse for how bad the results have been. But yeah, a month ago, we were in a much better position. And the same is true for Manchester City, right? Like they had 5 games, not a single win. That's unprecedented for them, especially under Pep. So yeah, shit happens sometimes. Let's see if there's any more comments by the way. Call me biased, but Francisco Calvo would be great for us. I predict 4 more live streams. Let's hope not. I don't have the time for that, unfortunately. Let's see. The end of this darkness is light. Beşiktaş knows what black and white is. May the path of all of us be clear. May Allah save us from these difficult days. I assume that was the end of his conference. I don't think there's all that much more. I mean, I strongly encourage you to go and check out what was said online, what was said on Twitter and stuff like that. Go check out the quotes for yourself if you haven't yet. Yeah, I think that'll do it for me for today. Hopefully, I hope it's done with big bombs now. I'm sure there'll be lots and lots of rumors and innuendo coming out in the coming hours, but at least we have some clarity now. Hüseyin Yücel will be responsible for the football branch going forward. So let's hope for the best. Let's hope for good results in the next couple of games, and let's hope for some good moves in January. We're close. It's almost December. It's the 27th of November now, so we're a little over a month removed from the January transfer window. I hope we can stop hemorrhaging points in the league. I really, really hope we beat Maccabi tomorrow. If we beat Maccabi, like Hasan Arat says, we have a good chance. I don't think it's just a good chance. If we beat Maccabi tomorrow, we have qualified for the next round in the Europa League. That means European football after January, which is great. Yeah, fingers crossed that we beat Maccabi tomorrow. It's an extremely important game. It's good to see that they recognize that importance. Then, of course, the Hatay game on the weekend. Let's hope we can finally get a win again. I don't think it'll be easy. Hatay away is always difficult, whether it's in Hatay or not. And, of course, Riza Chalamba is in charge there. He's got a bone to pick with the board. Abubakar is there. I'm sure he'll suddenly play a great game. A couple more comments. Yasin says, I don't trust Yücel. Mario Vargas says, I said Francisco Calvo because you mentioned South American countries. All right. Granted, Costa Rica is in Central America, but still. Yeah, but isn't Francisco Calvo a defender though? Or is he a left back? Or I'm not sure exactly where he plays. I know he's pretty decent, but I don't remember what his exact position is. But yeah, I mean, look, I think we in January we need a really, really, really good, proper winger, and we need a good left back. We need to get rid of Masuaku, and we need a proper boss midfielder. Boss winger. Like a Geza, like a Quaresma, that can link up with Rafa, that can link up with Chiro. If we can bring a really good winger and a really good left back, then I think we are in a much better position already. And if on top of that we can bring in a second striker, that would be marvelous. But there's going to be plenty of time to talk about that in the coming weeks, no doubt. So that'll do it for me for today. Thank you all for watching. Crazy times as a Beşiktaş fan. Let's hope that on Friday, Sinan, Kartal and we will definitely talk about all this, by the way. I will be getting their thoughts on the matter, but obviously this is the middle of the day. Kartal's working. Sinan, let's see, what time is it? I mean, I think he's awake. But, you know, you never know. Yeah. So I will see you on Friday, and for those of you who want some more Black Eagles content, go check out our Patreon. Like I said, I did a 47-minute audio podcast earlier today. If there's anything big again, I will definitely do another audio podcast this week for the VIP members. But unless something extremely crazy happens, don't expect another live show on YouTube until Friday. We will be back on Friday with to talk about the Maccabi game and to talk about this mess. But yeah, see you then. Bye bye.
Şimdi Bobo'nun önüne. Bobo aldı. Bobo girdi. Bobo çok babasın. Çok harikasın. Çok güzelsin. Harika. Bobo. 2-0. Lovren geldi.
Big thanks to our Patreons, by the way. Özkan, Atılcan, Paul, Nathan, Dara, 1 and the 2 and the 3, Keith, and the Dutch Eagle. Just wanted to say that. Don't be afraid to become a Patreon member. Join the Black Eagle VIP crowd.